Alrighty, y'all, welcome to Ellis Mowers. A lot of stuff going on in the backyard here. You guys see I got a lot of decks and whatnot off of mowers. I had to do a deck swap on one, and already had a couple off, and so crazy day. But the next rider I'm going to work on, I was going to work on that gray Craftsman out there, but I'm waiting on some parts. I kept looking in the backyard, and I was like, this Lowe's riding mower really doesn't look in that bad a shape. And somebody's been in this in a good way, and I'll tell you why. So, Lowe's riding mower. All the tires are holding air, except for the left rear. Somebody has put tubes in all of these, I'm pretty sure. I think this one I didn't pump up all the way whenever I went to go get it. The left rear here is flat. I'll have to put another tube in it. It had a tube in it, but I think it rusted out at right here at the outlet. I might just put some air in it just to see if it'll hold. I literally just pulled this in the garage. So I'm still, like I said, figuring it out. It's got the setup for a motorcycle battery in it. I don't have the little plate on it, but I'll find something that'll work. Don't worry about that. It's got some sheet metal back there, right there. Might have to play with some sheet metal to see if I can get this thing going. Details about it. It's a 14 horsepower Briggs, a 42-inch cut. Let's look at the engine. Used to have an ammeter on it. It's old. When did they stop making Lowe's riding mowers? Probably in the late 90s, right? This date code is a 93 0505, so May of 1993. But the way that they put these Lowe's riding mowers together, and this hood overall, it's one of them fiberglass hoods. Apart from that little fin right there broken off, it's in good shape. The mower itself overall is in good shape, which I'm really kind of interested to see, honestly. A little bit of pine straw and stuff from where it's been sitting. I have to check to see if it's got a mouse nest in it. Let's see. No, it's clear. I can feel under there, it's clear. I was looking at this mower, I was like, and I hope I don't jinx myself. Look at the seat. Somebody even replaced the seat on it. So I feel like this mower's been in a refurb house before. And I don't know. I don't know if the fuel line will leak on me. I'm very curious to just, honestly, slap a battery in it and try and crank it up. It doesn't have a lot of oil in it, so I will, first off, just pop a battery in it and see what I got. I wonder if these lawn and garden batteries will fit down in there without having to know. So what I'm going to have to do is be a little creative. And when I say be a little creative, I'm going to get a Sawzall out, and I'm going to take a Sawzall to this, and then I might just mount it temporarily down here, so that it can retrofit a lawn and garden battery, so I don't have to go get a motorcycle battery, which is easily twice as much, plus I don't have the little bracket there. So that might be the first thing that I do real quick. If I can find my Sawzall, I think it's in the house, and I'll just knock off some portions of this metal here, and then just slide that battery down for the time being and see if we can get this thing cranked. I might just throw the battery charger to it just to see if it's got any oomph behind it. See if it'll jump it. I don't know. Yeah, it's the MTD sticker. It's very dirty, but it's got 7-speed of the traditional lever operated deck there. I really don't think it'll take much to get this one going. I'm hoping. I want a quick mower flip, especially after that LT 1000. That just seemed like it was a flat out nightmare. Spindles seem to be turning freely. The belt's what's causing the resistance there. The belt's what's causing the resistance. So, all right. Let me see what I get into, and I'll get back. And honestly, just try and get this thing started. I'd love to do it before the sun goes down, but we'll find out. Everything else about the mower looks good, though. We'll see if it's good after I get it running, which I hope to do here in a couple minutes. Alrighty, y'all, so let me show you what I have done. I actually robbed a couple of brackets off of a Troy belt that I have out there. All I did was take a Sawzall and an angle grinder and cut out a little bit extra here and a little bit extra here, and then put these two little brackets in. Seems to work, because I mean, I popped the battery in. I made the hole just wide enough too. I mean, like by the smallest of margins, but I made it work. Let me go ahead and get my negative terminal up here as well. Let's see, positive needs to go toward the mower, and it slides just in there, just the slightest. Let me grab a second hand here real quick. It's all about improvising sometimes. There, alright, the seat's off of it, that's good. And voila, 12 volt lawn and garden battery where a motorcycle battery used to be. So let me hook it up. Let's see if we got any turnover action going on here, and we'll give this thing a try. Alrighty, it's getting dark, but I've done a little bit of investigating. So let me see if I can show you all the multimeter. There we go. So this is a switch that was not on this mower. This is a switch that was. Let me take the key out so hopefully y'all can see. Alright, so I found that there's supposed to be continuity between this terminal and this terminal, and there's not. I do the same thing on this good switch, right? Well, I gave it away. This other switch, right? So this terminal and this terminal. See, look, there's continuity, right? So at the very least, I know that this ignition switch is probably done. It's good. I got a good ignition switch here. Hopefully I'm going to do a little bit more testing. I am going to have to do a little bit of wiring finessing to this, I think. I don't know if I'm getting 12 volts to the switch proper, where it needs to go. We'll find out. I was getting 12 volts amongst a lot of the terminals. I did find this plug unplugged, but that might be a reason. There might be a reason why that was unplugged. And the ground on this is in rough shape, as you can see right there. So I am going to rewire the ground wire that goes to the ignition. And just put a nice little, nice little connector on there for the ground. For the black, as it's the black wire, so I'm fairly positive it's the ground. Clean up this switch, obviously. I'm going to do a little bit more troubleshooting. I'm going to call it a night, and I'll catch back up with this in the morning. Alright, so I'm isolating. We determined that I had a bad switch, first off. Secondly, now I think I've got a bad safety switch somewhere. I'll turn it on. I don't know if you can hear the click. Maybe not right now for some reason. Might have worn out the little solenoid thing, but it was clicking over there. Alright, I can hear it. I don't know if y'all can. So the switch is activating at least that anti-backfire solenoid, but it won't turn over. So I know so far it is getting 12 volts to the fuse here. If I can show you, maybe I can get some get my clamps back. My multimeter's acting a little finicky too. I could try another fuse. That wouldn't hurt it, would it? Bless me, sorry. So, you can see, fuse is good. Actually. Hold on a second. Let me see what the issue is with the fuse. It is a little dirty. I don't see it blown though, because it's getting power to the switch, and that I know it's getting power from there. So what I could do is I could potentially test this, but the black wire is at ground right there. Let's trace where this is going. The black wire. It's going over here. You lose it under the mower there. So it goes around. Let's see. I think it goes right over to that safety switch, honestly. Can't get my head down in there far enough. So it goes up. Some of them split off, because what I'm not getting is any power. And I'm wondering if this AND meter has anything to do with it yet again. Because I would suspect... Oh gosh, I had it on the wrong setting, guys. I'm sorry. That's what the ohms deal was. So let's see. Yeah, I got problems with my leads, unfortunately. There we go. You can see there's no problems with, even with bad leads, there's no problems with the fuse. So it's not the fuse. I'm wondering if it's that AND meter up there, because it's old and I'm sure it doesn't work. And it appears that's where the black wire is going from, which makes me think Let's see what we got going on here. So it's not hooked up to anything up there, which is kind of strange. It's just kind of tucked around. So, let's see. It's just kind of tucked around up there. But it goes up there. And then it comes, let's see. There is not a black wire that goes over there. So, it's weird that it goes from a red wire to a black wire, though. You wouldn't think that they would do that. Looks like it goes up and then around over to the switch. So that would be, I guess, what powers the ammeter. Thinking out loud here, sorry. Get because you would think that it would have a constant 12 volts on it if that was the case, which it goes right there on there. And at that connection, let's see, hold on. It doesn't. But should it is the question. When I turn the switch on, should it have 12 volts? I don't know. I'm gonna do a little bit more troubleshooting. I'll figure this out somehow, some way. I know that if I just pop that orange wire and wire it right there, that it bypasses all the safety switches. So as a test, I might do that. And if that is the case, as much as I hate to do it, I might leave it that way. But something is causing it not to fire, and I don't know what it is. I'm getting power to the switch, which is different than when I had an LT 1750 Craftsman that ran through the ammeter. Now the hot wire of the switch wasn't working. So I'll do a little research and a little bit more troubleshooting, and I'll let you know what I find. Okay, y'all, I have made some progress, and I've isolated it to the blade safety switch, I believe. Let me plug this back in just to make sure I'm not missing anything. That, to me, I believe is just the reverse switch. It has good continuity across throughout. This is I guess the actual switch that prevents the starter solenoid from firing. So if I remember right, the MTD orange wires are the ones that are tied to the safety portion of the ignition switch. So if I can find me a little camera mount for y'all, there we go. We're going to test this, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing. Because we're going to isolate the issue. We're going to isolate it by taking that orange wire and basically connecting it straight to the motor, or straight to the solenoid. So, let me see if I can do this for y'all. So this currently is connected from here to the solenoid orange wire that grounds at the solenoid. Basically, it tells the engine to fire, right? I should have no resistance, but I don't. It is an open loop. Even when I plug it into the switch down here, which I'm doing right now. It's an open loop, see that? So it's plugged in. I could try and jam the switch up a little bit just to see. No. I don't know if I'm switching gears on it either. neutral. Alright, let me take this out. Now I'm going from the switch to one of the leads. I can't really see that, sorry. Going from the switch to one of the leads on the switch. Should be the other one then. There, 0. I don't know if y'all can see that. Now let me take the other lead, go from that lead over to the where it connects to the solenoid, right? Nothing. So something's in that switch is bad. Now, what we are going to do, I do not recommend doing this. However, given the time, given the circumstances, we're going to. I want to see this thing run. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically bypass this for testing purposes. I'll give it a little lead room just in case. We're going to cut it, splice it, and splice it. If y'all want to do a little, you know, song and dance to this thing, right? Alright. Because something on that switch, that blade safety switch, is causing this to not work. And I have a couple of wire nut I'm going to throw on here. Thank you, Home Renovations, for me having wire nuts to be able to use on the lawnmowers. So in theory now, when I go from here, when I plug it into the orange on here, and I have it currently plugged into the orange on the solenoid, right? We should have nothing. We have no resistance. See that? No resistance. I don't know if how well y'all can see that, but y'all can't see it at all. Nothing. So in theory, I should be able to plug this in, pending I have a good ground, and this thing should crank over. And it doesn't. So I could potentially have a bad, because I don't have it plugged into the starter solenoid. Now let's see what happens. Still nothing. Okay. Like I said, I don't have any resistance now though. So we've eliminated that as a possibility. It could very well be the solenoid that's the issue too. I don't know yet. But we'll find out here in just a second. I'm going to keep troubleshooting. Continuing to see if I can troubleshoot this. It's frustrating and fun at the same time, if you know what I mean. So we've eliminated, we know what would have been one known issue that was preventing this from starting. Now let's see if we can figure out if the solenoid is bad. I really think that the solenoid, it's likely that the solenoid is bad. I could possibly also have a bad ground on the switch. I am not sure at this point, but I will keep on investigating and I'll get back to y'all. Alright, so I want to show y'all that I believe it's a solenoid, almost positive. Everything I can think of checks out on the switch. I've got no resistance from the fuse all the way from the positive terminal to the fuse all the way up through to the switch. I have no resistance from the orange wires, which you could straight wire, and this thing should be cranking And I can even show you that the parking brake deal still works, because if I take the parking brake off, it goes into an open loop. You see that? And now it's in a closed loop, so it should crank. And it's got 12 volts here at the terminal, so I'm pretty sure that this solenoid is toast. We will put a new solenoid on it, or at least a solenoid that I believe is good on it, and see if we can get this thing started. If not, I might go to the store and buy one. I mean, they're 15 bucks, but man, you know, just to get it going. I don't want to be tearing apart lawnmowers more than I already have. So let me swap the solenoids on it. Who knows how long this mower's been sitting, so it's probably had water in it, especially since I think it's had the little panel off of it the whole time. And we'll put a new one in here. Alrighty, y'all, we are making progress. So far, listen to this. So I have a good solid connection. And it's kicking over the solenoid. That's all I need to know. So this solenoid, this other solenoid is trashed. I mean, it is gone. Where I might even throw it in the trash already. But that solenoid is done. It wouldn't even kick over. So solenoid number 2. We got the switch sorted out. We knew it had a bad switch. Now we know we had a bad solenoid. This one's fine. You hear it clicking. It's just not kicking it over. It's not kicking the power to the starter. So we're getting there slowly. I think I've got a good connection right there. I'll make sure that I'll test the resistance on both sides and make sure that I don't have a bad connection. And then after that, I'll see if I can source another solenoid. I know I've got another one around here somewhere I'll try. If that doesn't work, heck, I might just go get a new one. We know that the solenoid's the issue at this point. I've bypassed all the switch. I bypassed the bad switch. Ignition issues, you gotta love them. But the thing is, with the blade switch, the park brake switch still works. So if you have the park brake off and get off the mower, then that in theory should still work. Again, we're just trying to get this thing running at this point. We know it's a strong connection because you hear it clicking very strong. It's just not clicking over because it's old. But I've got another solenoid I think here. I might try and put that on to see if I can get it to crank. If not, I'll go buy a new solenoid, and then that'll be the end of that issue. And hopefully we'll be cranking and running this thing here pretty shortly. Alright, I got the new solenoid in. At the very least, very least, this thing should crank over at this point. I did have to put a new positive cable on it because that other cable was actually on there so far, and I had to splice the positive wire there. The other terminal was on there so bad from the original solenoid. This is the second or the first attempt at a replacement, that it actually broke the end off. I tried to splice and put another end on it, but it didn't work very well, so I just went ahead and eliminated all the issues and put a different cable on it, full on, and then just spliced those positive cables together right there for the solenoid switch. For the, the little anti-backfire solenoid on the engine. So let me put y'all right there. Grab the key. Know the battery is good. If it doesn't crank this time, I don't know what it is. But alright, solenoid clicks. That's good. That's what we have been waiting for all day. I'll tell you what, let me do this real quick. Let me just throw a little starting fluid in it. I'm not going to run it long with that with the little oil that it's got in it. Starting fluid. let's just see what this thing will do. Let's see. I'll just put y'all like this real quick. My gosh. It will crank. I will put it outside before I run it anymore, though. The thing is going to smoke like a... It's not going to smoke, but probably going to blow some stuff out of the exhaust and stuff. Awesome. Starter solenoid. And the blade safety switch. We've got it cranking. It will run. Let me put a little bit of oil in it. And put some gas in it and shoot. Let's just see what the heck's going to happen with this thing. Might go ahead and put the switch and dress the switch and everything back up while I'm at it as well. And we'll see what we got going on. Alright, so I put some oil in it, I put some gas in it. I did blow into the engine a little bit, so I'm wondering if I'm getting gas seeping into the oil. I'm not sure. But what I am going to do, I don't know, because the pickup tube is way over there. So I don't think that's happening. But let's see. Let's just see. It might take a little bit for this thing to crank over, but I think we'll be able to get it to crank. If we can, hopefully. The needle and seat might be leaking, which wouldn't surprise me. It might just need a cleaning. But I'll tell you what, let's just pop you over here and see what we got. I think we're going to have a runner here. I don't have the blade belt on it right now. I'll put it on there after I know that it runs, though. no backfiring. Okay, well, it runs, albeit not very well at this point. That is a step. I don't know if I see any governor springs down there for this throttle linkage. Oh yeah, I do. I wonder if the feels like the throttle is just tight on it. I wonder if the throttle just needs a lube, and that's the issue. Yeah, the needle and seat are leaking on it, though. I don't know. Let's find out, I guess. Yeah, the needle and seat are leaking on it, so we'll have to. Idling down now. Cool. Awesome. It's going to do that. Needle and seat are leaking on it. Maybe we can work on that. If not, I'll just throw a new carburetor on it that I have in the pile. Tell you what I'm going to do while I'm so far the transmission is not moving. I don't know what pulley may not be moving. I don't know if it's the middle one right here or if it's the one in the back, but whatever it is, it's not moving, so I have to figure that out as well. Let me put the deck belt on before this thing fills back up with gas and floods, and I will test the deck on it here in just a second. Well, so I did a lot of talking and I didn't realize I had the video camera running, but what I did, here, I'll start it back up for us. So let me show you what the issue is with that. And I put some lubricant on these pulleys. Maybe we can get them freed up, because I think that's the issue. I think this middle pulley is frozen and it's not allowing everything else to spin. If we can get that working, I think we're going to be in business with the transaxle. As you can see, the blades are working, albeit not very well. But the issue is, it's not coming up far enough to catch the blade brakes when I turn the mower off. So I'm either going to need to bend the blade brakes down some, or I am going to, the deck's going to have to come off as it is, so I'll have to take the deck off. I either need to bend the blade brakes, or I am going to have to make it so that the deck can be raised up some more, which I don't know how to do on these old MTDs. I want to get it driving first, though. I want to get it to drive first. And I might just kind of mess around with it a little bit. I don't want to smoke a belt up or pop a belt or anything, but I might see if I can get it to break loose on me at some point, because I can take the pulley off, see if I can get it to turn, but this one will kind of turn. I feel like it would turn if you broke it loose. But that's going to be another project for another day. I'll call it a night tonight on this. But I mean, yeah, we're getting there. Slowly but surely. We got it running. I do have to work on the throttle a little bit to get it to where it'll run correctly. I think the issue with the leaky needle and seat resolved itself after some fresh gas ran through it. That's not uncommon for it to do. Let's see. I think I gotta adjust the throttle cable a little bit. This is kind of a fun little project so far. We got it running. Took everything in the world to get it running. The deck works, albeit not very well. The throttle kind of works. I'll take these tomorrow. I'll take this side panel off, and we'll figure out if we can get the throttle to work better, and then we'll also figure out the deck situation. But we're going to first try and figure out this driving situation too. I do have a donor mower over here that I'm fairly sure has a good drive pulley on it. I'm not 100% because I haven't seen it working. But yeah, so those pulleys work. All those pulleys are good. So at the very least, I can rob the pulleys. Shoot, I could even rob the belts if I wanted to off of this one and put on that other one. And the transax is even good on this one too, so got a lot of good donor parts if I need to. These pulleys are probably gonna go. I bet if I swapped them pulleys out, it would this thing would run, or this thing would work great. What is it, an E clamp? Getting them off is what's gonna be a bear though. But if I can get these off, I might spray some lube on these while I'm here tonight too, just to see if I can get them off tomorrow. And like I said, I got to work on the deck a little bit. But the big deal is that it runs. And I think I'm going to end part 1 here. Actually, I've done a lot of talking on this video. We did the whole 9 yards, the whole kit and caboodle, trying to figure out this thing to get it to run. Now that it does run, let's get it driving. And I think we can. That's a little O-ring clamp instead of an E clamp like on the others. So I might actually just swap them pulleys out and see if that will work. And we might have a driving tractor. You will see that in part 2. We'll tackle the driving portion of it in part 2. We'll see how far we get with that, and then we might tackle the deck. But at the end of part 1, we have a running lawn tractor. After we diagnosed that, number 1, the ignition switch was bad. Number 2, we had a bad blade safety switch. And number 3, we had a bad starter solenoid. So we'll pull it back in the garage for tonight because it's starting to get a little dark. And I will catch up with y'all on part 2 of this, where we are going to work on the transaxle. We're going to work on the deck. We'll see how far we get. And we will also work on whatever else that needs to happen in order to get this thing to run, you know. So I'll catch y'all on part 2. But in the meantime, you can follow me on Ellis Mowers 09 on Instagram and on Facebook. See y'all on part 2.